thing they got on the website. Got,
Call this meeting to order on Tuesday, September 13th at 6:48 or 54. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence as we take time to a moment of silence to remember one of our workers, Leroy Quintana, who was the painter for the district for, I don't know, 20 years, 30 years, somewhere in there. Also like to take a memory of silence for a teacher that taught in District 14 for 30-some years, from 1965 to about 1996. I know I see some of the former alumni here they might have had, and that's Mr. Al Ryden. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started, there's a couple things I would like to announce. So I know some of you people came for just various things, but first thing I would like to announce is on Mr. Quintana. As I talked to some of the family members on his bed just before he died, he wasn't even worried about how sick he was. His main concern was he had 2 schools he had to get done within the next month. And it goes to show his patriotism to this district and the hard work that he put in for, as I mentioned, for 30-some years, for him to be as sick as he was and to worry about the school district. So it's a sad loss to our district that we lose this individual. At this time, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight, as we have a variety of important matters happening in the district. We want to respectfully address one issue in particular that has been in the media all weekend and continues to unfold. This is regarding a school board member that has been arrested. As a board, we have respect the responsibility and the roles of the judicial system and law enforcement, and as those systems work together, connecting an investigation and following the law in the judicial process, we stand ready to assist them if called upon. I have asked Superintendent Abrego to make a statement on behalf of the district. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Superintendent Abrego.
Thank you, President Rollo. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for being here. At our last board meeting on August 23rd, I shared with everyone my position that our new administration is putting the academic needs of our students front and center at every agenda. I also shared with you my hope, my expectation that our public comment period will reflect that new student-focused direction. As you correctly stated, Mr. Rollo, the Adams 14 District is aware of our responsibility to keep all students and staff safe. As Mr. Rollo stated, we are respecting the role and responsibilities of the Aurora Police Department and the judicial system to handle this matter. We will cooperate with any investigation they request. We have school safety plans, district policies, and dedicated staff whose responsibility is to make sure we're using these tools to guide our daily work to protect our students and staff. It could be tempting to engage in fruitless conversation of hypotheticals and assumptions, but that would not be responsible on our part, nor would it move us closer to answers to questions. So we're not going to give in to scenarios and guesses as to the facts. We are going to follow the law, treat everyone with dignity and respect, and work collaboratively with law enforcement to maintain safety and security in our schools. Now, as we all know, the news story that broke on Friday evening, we are confronted with an issue relating to a Board of Education member. With a great sense of humility, I am asking our community to not allow this issue to eclipse our student-first agenda. In the meantime, I am asking our community to refocus on what's going on right now in our schools. For example, did you know that this past weekend, Adams High School ROTC took our students to a college at the Air Force Academy? Also, our elementary students at Hanson will be performing their folklorico dances at the Colorado Association of Bilingual Educators in Denver, Colorado. Other good things happening: Lester Arnold School received a $180,000 sustaining funds grant from the Colorado Department of Education. And very important, tomorrow morning on Channel 9, one of our own, Coret Ambrosino, a fifth grade teacher at Alsop, will be featured on Channel 9 at 7:15. Please watch that so you can see all the good things that are going on in our district. So it's for the academic achievement of our students that we are all here. That is our primary focus. Thank you, Mr. Rolla. I now turn the floor over back to you.
This time, we will continue the meeting. Can we have roll call, Monica, please?
Mr. Archuleta?
Here.
Mrs. Quintana?
Here.
Mr. Rolla?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
Okay, need a motion for the approval of the minutes on August 23rd,
Third.
2016.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on, I need a motion for the approval of the minutes on September 6, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Okay. This time, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. As we take a look, there is a need to amend the agenda this evening to remove business item under other 2.10, Adams 14, and School District 14, Colorado School Classified Employees Association, CCSEA, negotiations approved.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
We will need another amendment to the agenda under business, which will be to accept the resignation of former board member Robert Vishaw.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on, I need a motion for the approval of the agenda
As amended.
as amended.
So moved.
President Vesha, there is another amendment that's.
There is another.
There's another one?
2.2.
There's another for, which one is that?
May I help you a little bit with that,
Go ahead.
Mr.? That amendment is basically just changes the dollar amount from $44,000 to $41,500.
United States.
That's the only change.
Okay, changing the amount of there. So, need a motion?
So moved.
Is there any second
Second.
discussion? Hearing none, we have roll call, Monica.
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Now, moving on to, we need an approval of the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana.
Aye.
Mr. Rowland.
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
Moving on to recognitions and celebrations. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, we have representatives here from Kearney Middle School. They have two outstanding programs. They transformed their media center, and I'll have the principal come up here and invite the students and staff. Also, they have another special program where one of their teachers, Enrique Guerrero, is helping students get ready for college. So, the principal, please come up here and let us know about your exciting programs.
And excited we are. Our first project, as you know, these buildings were built in the 50s, and the library is the same. I think when you all went through there saying, oh, I remember this library, and it's like, this is 2016. So I want my assistant principal, Tom Seelick, that will explain more in detail how this took way. Miss Karen, Mr. Pauly, Mr. Finnemore, could you come up here, please? Oliver and the students that helped transform this library, come on up. I'll turn it over to the chairperson of this transition, Miss Karen Hayes.
Well, I'm just so thrilled to be able to be a part of this. And we just decided that literacy was really important at our school, at Kearney Middle School. And we wanted to have a place where the students could come and be creative, enjoy reading. And so we gathered together our committee, our beautification committee called CREW, and decided that we would basically gut the media center. We wrote grants, we wrote all kinds of programs to fund it. We appreciate the $10,000 from the district to help us with the furniture, and it's become this beautiful, beautiful place. However, we could not have done it without all of these people who helped design it. Brandon Finnemore helped design it. Here, our art teacher, and did a blueprint and 3D, and we had carpenters and Oliver, who did a good majority of it for us, and
Come here,
all
kids.
of these wonderful students who are representing from elementary to high school students. And our high school students wish they were back at Kearney Middle so they could enjoy the beautiful media center. But we do appreciate the fact that they are going to come back and they're going to help us even do more things at Kearney Middle. And there were hundreds, literally, weren't there? Hundreds of kids who came in and sanded by hand all the furniture and painted and just did numerous things. And we're just so grateful, and well, the teachers hang out there a lot now, too. And it's just a beautiful place, and I just want to thank everybody for making that dream come true. And it can be done if we just unite together as a team. So I just want to thank everybody for doing that.
We couldn't have done it without the kids. So those of you that went to Kearney and graduated from Kearney, continued on, please come look at what they have done to this magnificent media center. It's a fun place to be. The colors will shock you. It's very modern. So I'll warn you about that. Now you have to come see what it looks like. But thank you guys, and thank you, Ms. Hayes and Mr. Pauly, Mr. Finnemore, Mr. Seelick, and Oliver, who spent endless hours volunteering all your time. I can't thank you enough.
Take a picture. Stand up quick. We have your set.
Or do you want us to stay up here? Oh, I guess we're going down.
Board members, for the picture, if you'll stay where you are, and then we'll have you come down and shake everybody's hand.
Guess
Thank you. three. Thank you. Yeah, if you stay where you are, the board's going to come down and congratulate you personally.
See, do you tell your students, do you have your parents here? Bring it on.
Los padres? Los padres? A la izquierda. Enrique.
Yes, we're not going to let it go away. They still have one more very important project that they want to share with us. So, Principal, please tell us about your other program, how you're helping students get scholarships.
Our other program started last spring with Enrique Guerrero behind the helm of trying to educate not only our parents, but to plant the seed for that when we're gone, the people that from Commerce City, their children, the students, staying the focus on them, that they know how to attain where it is they want to go in college. Although we all know that not every student's going to go to college, it is our job to prepare every student and let them have that opportunity when they graduate from high school. Mr. Guerrero has taken on a group of students to give them an idea of what do I want to do when I graduate high school, and let them start thinking about college and what they want to do, and has brought in parents for the children to sit down with their parents and say, this is what I want to do when I get old, when I grow up. And they have sat there and they're starting to make a plan on their future now while they're at Kearney Middle School, and some of our students who have gone on to the high school. Mr. Guerrero, if you could come up and talk a little bit about your program, sir. He also worked the whole summer volunteering with these students, the families in our community, to further their education.
Good evening, and thank you. I'm one of these kids. I grew up in the neighborhood just like they do. I remember very clearly when I was a senior in high school. Tommy, our high school quarterback, I saw him a lot of times sitting down with the counselor and his parents and talking about plans. And when Tommy and I had conversations, we were both also on the track team. And he used to tell me about all these wonderful trips that he took to college and how he was making his choices, and he had all these options to pick from. And I remember not having much to share with him. I often wondered if there was something that my school counselor had against me, if there was something that I was missing. As I grew and I went through college, I put myself through college, I learned that what was missing was my parents being informed. Not because the counselor didn't want to teach him, but because there wasn't enough time to do that. So when I decided to start this program, I kind of look back at what I had to go through, and wondering what would it be like if our parents and our kids knew from the time they get into 6th grade what it is that they want to do, what is their passion. As much as we want to say as teachers that when kids get to be teenagers, they want to please us. They want to make us happy. Things change. After about 4th and 5th grade, they begin to stop caring about making teacher happy, making mommy happy. They want to pursue their own dreams. They have their own plans. And I feel that it is my job as an educator not only to teach them how to read and write, but to also teach them the purpose of why they're doing this. That purpose is to help them find their passion. Oftentimes we think that in order for them to be successful, they have to get out of the hood, that they have to leave, that they have to abandon their community, that they have to abandon their house, their home, and they don't. The purpose of this program was not only to teach them about the process of getting into college, but to discover their passion within their own community, to get involved in community service, and to realize that whatever talents, whatever skills they have a purpose in this life, and they have a purpose in their community. So one of the things that we did is that we exposed not only them, but the parents to the meaning of serving your community, and how through doing this, you can discover not only a career, but a path to get you to college, to get you to help you get scholarships. It should not be only the job of our high school counselors when it's too late to scramble to figure out how they're gonna get each kid to college. I feel that my duty as a middle school teacher is to prepare them for that. And if that means that I have to take my personal time to help parents and to educate them and to educate children, then I will do it. Because that is one more chance that these kids have to be successful. One of the things that we did with the parents when we first started meeting was kind of a little social awareness type of thing. We took a little walk around our school, and yeah, they were surprised. They had never really looked at our school and seen how dilapidated it was. And they said, well, that looks terrible. And we need to redo that outside. And we need to do so many things on the inside. And I said, yes. So we have two choices as a community, as teachers, as parents. We continue to let our schools fall into pieces, or we put our hands in there, get our hands dirty, and begin to pick them up again. Those children that you saw come up here, those were kids that were in my group who saw Ms. Hayes working on the library, and they said, I want to help. There was also another teacher who's not here tonight who was repainting the small gym. She had budgeted 3 weeks for this project. When our kids found out about it, they go, well, can we help? A project that was budgeted for 3 weeks took 3 days to complete. Now imagine if we had an entire community involved doing this. We had some tough conversations with parents and with kids, and there were tears of joy, tears of sadness, because for some parents to hear that their child wants to leave all the way across the nation to go to college to pursue their career, it's terrifying. So we wanted to ease those fears as well. And if I could, I would share pictures with you, but we don't have those with us right now. So without further ado, I want to recognize each kid individually. Some of them are not here, but the fact that they're not here does not demerit their purpose and the fact that they contributed to this. So we'll call them up. If you are here, please stand and receive your certificate.
Kearney Middle School proudly presents this certificate in recognition of exemplary involvement and service not only to Kearney Middle School, but to our community. So if I call your name, please come up. Lisbeth Cortez. Kevin Esquivel. Marisol Esquivel. Alondra Garcia. Mariana Guevara. Nicolás Iturbe. Emily Lagunes. Elizabeth Lara. Leslie Lara. Eduriel Maldonado. Giovanna Meras Ruiz. María Meras Ruiz. Marisa Meras. Laura Ortiz. Jaime Ramírez. Yareli Rojas. Taide Ramos. Luna Sánchez. Noeli Sánchez. Eduardo Soto. Y Zasha Vargas. You make us all proud to be at Kearney and in Commerce City. Thank you. Los padres de estos estudiantes, por favor, pasen.
Nice and close if you can. I'll do this in 2 pictures. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And maybe take that. Ready? Set. Did you get your picture?
One more. Thank you.
Let me get one from here with the whole group, please. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I have a question about that. I have a question about that. I want
He has
to.
a question on the program.
Mr. Thomas, where'd Miss
Guerrero.
Jeffers go?
She out there.
Or it's
Mr. Guerrero.
Enrique.
Enrique?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas has a question.
Yes.
I first want to say thank you for what you do for the students. It's good work you do, and I appreciate it. But when you say visit like a technical school, community college, or university for 6th graders, how would you feel, say, the board, if we can help work with your students, both middle schools, say 6th grade, and we can put together a trip for these students in the 6th grade, in 7th grade, and get them used to it? Because I know Inspire does this at the high school, and that's when they get to be high school students. But when you said for 6th grade, that hit home for me too, because without sports, I didn't know about college. But it takes a athlete, but you want a student athlete too. So I think this board, for us and Dr. Abrego, to see if we can start making field trips for our students within the next board meeting for our 6th graders, 7th graders, and see what it could be every other month for different groups or something. But we need to get our kids to let them see there's more to life outside of Commerce City that can come back to Commerce City that can help. I appreciate that.
So, if I hear this correctly, are you asking if you can help?
Oh, we're gonna help. That's not the problem.
Absolutely.
We just want to make sure that we can work with your group, Inspire, to see in the district to make sure that we can do things that's by policy, as Dr. Abrego say.
Yes.
But in the fairness to our students, give them a chance to see what CU Boulder look like, CSU 6th graders, and take field trips, see a technical college in things of that nature, so they can get their mindset to say, this is what this what I need from high school to have a GPA to go to this school. This what I need to go to Notre Dame, Stanford, CU.
Yes.
And we can, as I say, from day one, build our curriculum to be the top in this school district, in this state, for our students to understand that they can be anything they want to choose to be. So thank you.
And that is precisely the purpose of this. I want more kids to know and more parents to know before they get into the high school what it looks like to have a college plan, what it looks like to work, to go to Stanford, to go to CU, to go to Harvard. Why not? Our kids are capable of doing all that. They don't have the blueprint to do that.
Right.
And it's our job, I feel, as educators to do that. The reason I came to work in this district was not because I was coming to save anybody. I came here because in this district there are lawyers and teachers and principals and scientists who are, by the way, bilingual. And that's why I work here. And I want to make sure that this... So yes, please, we would appreciate your help very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, there you go.
Does he have any more?
Is that it? Do you have it? Is there any other recognitions?
No, I'm sorry. There are no more.
Okay. We will now move on to audience comments. Before we start the audience comments, I want to share some brief highlights from Board Policy BEDH regarding public participation at the board meeting. All citizens who will be speaking this evening have already viewed the full version of Policy BEDH. Anyone in the audience who would like a copy of the full policy can request one from Monica. Please remember, state your name. You have 3 minutes to speak. No seizing of time between speakers will be permitted. All comments need to be district related. Your comments can suggest improvements but should be productive. You can provide written statements to the board for review. The board can recognize a board member or the superintendent to respond to questions to clarify the district's position. This time, Barb McDowell.
Barb McDowell. I am speaking on behalf of the Classroom Teachers Association. I'm the president of the Classroom Teachers Association. Good evening, President Rolla, Superintendent Abrego, distinguished members of the board. I'm here to just give you a quick update on what's been going on with the Classroom Teachers Association. We approved a contract at over 85% of our members voted to approve the contract that I think you are voting on tonight. We also have some professional learning available for all staff. We 3 teachers last year. We had the tall teachers as learning leaders, and they went through a rigorous interview process, and they will go through a rigorous training on how to teach other teachers to improve their craft. And we have 3 teachers that were selected this semester: Cord Ambrosino, Kate Harris, Cord Ambrosino at Alsip Elementary, Kate Harrison at DuPont Elementary, and Monica Wisniewski from Kearney Middle School. And more information will be available. It is open to all teachers, not just union members, but all teachers, all principals, guest teachers, anyone who is interested. And it's a joint endeavor for locals that I partner with. We are also planning another Walk for Success on September 20th. We're going to do an evening one, and we're going to actually also meet with Pine Lake Ranch community. And I've invited head of transportation to join us at that meeting to talk with parents. And we're going to have another one on the 24th. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a brief update. that's what's going on with the association. Thank you.
Next individual, Jackie Acosta.
Good evening, Jacqueline Acosta. I am an employee at Alsip Elementary. I am an attendance liaison, and I come here tonight to inform you about our kickoff celebration for Hispanic Heritage Month. It will be on Friday, this Friday, the 16th, from 8:35 a.m. to approximately 9:05, a.m., 8:38 a.m. to 9:05 a.m. We're doing it before the school day starts. And I just want to let you know, this is the first time that we're doing this. I have been saying for years and years and years, why don't we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, being that our population is predominantly Hispanic. So I have been a member of the District Equity Committee and the Equity Committee at my school. And so we finally made the decision to go ahead and start celebrating this. So we will have the mariachi group from the high school playing, and we will also have some other student entertainment and a whole program. So I just come here to invite, the board and the members and Dr. Abrego and all the community, anybody else that can attend. We're real excited for this.
What day?
Friday, September 16th.
What were the times?
It starts at 8:35 a.m. before the normal school day. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria Gonzalez.
Good evening, members of the board. Dr. Abrego. My name is Maria Gonzalez, 7211 Magnolia Street. I'm here to talk a little bit about what's going on in the community. First of all, as many of you know, we had been wanting to recall President Rolla and Basha. So now it looks like we're just going to continue with recall for Mr. Rolla. I believe that as members of this community, we need people that are going to be in the superintendent office, as board of directors, and as a school district administration, people that are ready to support our student achievement, that are committed to the community, to the district, and not to their personal agendas and with their lack of integrity. We are making sure that the district has the accountability that it needs. What has happened in the news, in the media, it continues to build distrust and to make it a very uncomfortable and sad, and have this fear about what is going on with the administration and what is going on as a board of directors. We had a couple of people that had to leave, but they need to be followed up by the superintendent office. And we need to continue to work together into the improvement of the district and to building the trust. And I hope that the Office of Civil Rights continues to see that many of the issues are not agreed, are not compliant, and that the community still needs to hear away from the school property in a place that they are comfortable listening to the complaints, and we come to agreements that make this place to feel safe, in a place where where students can achieve. I thank you for your time, and what has happened with Mr. Basha brings a lot of shame into our district. And you as leaders of this community.
Can't mention names, okay?
Okay. As leaders of this school board, I hope that you take the leadership and clean whatever needs to be cleaned so that we can continue to build trust and go into the credibility that we need for the success of this district. We all have that responsibility. Thank you.
Barb McDowell.
Hi, I'm Barb McDowell. Again, I'm here speaking now as an individual. Good evening, President Rolla, Superintendent Abrego, members of the board. Do you have my pictures? Okay. In June of this year, Governor Hickenlooper signed into law Jack's Law. This law was created to allow students with a valid prescription to get medical treatments on school property. You have a choice to make tonight to create a policy limiting where on campus treatments can take place or what forms of non-smokable cannabis can be administered. Representative Jonathan Singer, the bill sponsor, wanted to give parents, we can stop there, the right to administer cannabis medicine while also giving school districts a way to police its use. You all can choose to make a decision now or wait until you are forced to make a decision. I am here tonight to ask you to make that decision tonight. As many of you know, 1 year ago, next week, we learned that my granddaughter Quinn was born with a rare neurogenetic disorder called Angelman syndrome. While still coming to grips with this disorder, we learned she would also be one of the angels who suffered from epilepsy. In December, she began having seizures, and on February 6th, while much of the world was watching the Broncos in the Super Bowl, we were at Children's Hospital with Quinn while she was in epileptic status, meaning her tiny little brain was in nonstop seizing. At the hospital, the doctors prescribed Keppra, a seizure medicine, and in late February, they added a second medication, Depakote. From the time she started having seizures in December until April, she was averaging over 100 seizures each and every day. Upon adding a small dose of CBD, her seizures went down to 40 to 50 every day. After 2 increases of CBD, over a 6-week period, she went seizure-free for 30 days. She has been completely weaned off Depakote by her neurologist, which had a debilitating side effect on Quinn's motor skills. As of today, she is 7 weeks and 1 day seizure-free. At the August 23rd Board of Ed meeting, it was mentioned that many people are now coming to Colorado because of our new law. That is absolutely correct. I know of 2 Angelman families who have left their friends and families to come to this state so they can legally give their angels CBD. Go ahead and on Wednesday, August 24th, Jack Split died the day after our last meeting here. But his legacy continues. In our district, I personally know of 1 child who suffers from epileptic seizures. His mom has been trying to get him to try CBD oil. However, he feels that because it is a Class 1 controlled substance, that he can't take it. Even though he is still having seizures that take him a day out for a day or 2. Your decision tonight could go a long way in eliminating a stigma that could help this child and other children in our district. For that reason, I'm asking you to make a decision tonight and not wait around for other districts to make that decision for you. I apologize for going over. Thank you.
Renee Lovato.
Hey everyone. Again, maybe I'm too tall. I wanted to come to you today. My name is Renee Lovato. I've recently made calls to the HR department to verify employment on an individual that has contacted businesses that I provide consulting services for. This individual is contacting businesses asking for personal and confidential information on behalf of the district. I'd like to think that our district is not wasting precious resources conducting information-seeking expeditions to carry out personal vendettas. excuse me. I expect that our district's leadership is not condoning such behavior, as this type of inquiry most definitely violates consumer data privacy laws and basic business practice law. Because this incident involves businesses that I consult with, I will follow up with district leadership separately. I wanted to make the board aware that such activity is going on. Not only does this community member's actions misrepresent Adams 14, this person's unwarranted witch hunt has negatively affected a legitimate business that is owned and operated by an Adams 14 alum. Additionally, it concerns me that someone from outside our community is involving himself in something like this on behalf of the district. What are his ties here? The only tie I can see is that he's trying to carry out a personal vendetta against district employees. On a personal note, this is related to a company that provides t-shirts to a lot of our kids. When my son packed up for college, those are keepsakes for them. Not only that, they represent our district in a positive light. I just don't want it to be harder for our district members to purchase these things for our kids because it affects them. Thank you.
Guillermo Cerna.
Guillermo Serna. District accountability. Administration, board members, principals, and parents. Don't let them down in perspective. They, at this last meeting, we had to put in employees that live in the district to serve on the board of the district accountability. That to me is getting everybody off the hook. It should be parents that participate and find what you challenge them to do, not employees of the district. District accountabilities are for finding the district accountable to some of the things that should happen in the district according to your needs. Not the employees taking control of these positions and then making recommendations to you. It happened too fast. That should have been taken care of last year. That's why we don't have enough representation, because we're letting everybody make excuses of why we can't have more parents. Mr. Harvest, Connie, Dave, Timio, one of the last, second to the last chairs. You know the amount of people that were there. All of a sudden, there's nothing there at a time when we need to build trust. You saw today the importance of the support of everybody when it comes to teachers and the children. We have to start going back to the community and asking them to participate. Why? Because these kids that were here had to work hard for a library. And it's a responsibility of this community also to provide buildings so that technology can be taken care of, not just for a curriculum, but a high standard so that our children can be productive in any which direction they see forth in their employment when it comes. Middle schools, last 2 weeks ago, we celebrated the amount of children that were successful. Give me 2 more seconds. But what happened? We didn't celebrate the whole village. The foundation of this district brought in $1 million and some, the highest it has been but we don't recognize that when you have that high standard and you have a person that wants it higher, you bring him in and you give him more challenges because he knows that he can do it. The other part that we have to look at.
Point of order, Mr. Rolla. You read the policy regarding comments, and it stated 3 minutes. You know, if you break the rule for one person, you're going to be obligated to break the rule for everyone. If we're to go on a policy governance standard, which Dr. Orrego supports, you got to follow the rules. Otherwise, anybody could get up and, you know, ask for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, what have you. Let's standardize. Let's get back to protocol and do this right, if I may ask.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Do you want me to stop?
Yeah.
Will I have, or will you bring up the district accountability separately, if I may ask?
Yes.
So that this can be discussed.
We've already decided, Guillermo, last year what hurt us was that we went to accountability once every quarter. Well, this year, the district, or the board decided that that didn't work, so we're now going back to what it was 2, 3, 4 years ago, meeting the first Monday of the month. And so hopefully we recognize that we weren't getting the parents that we wanted, and hopefully this way we can get back to it. So,
Yeah, I'm just letting you know that that alone will not do it. There's got to be some educational for the parents from the elementary all the way.
I'll bring it up. I'll put it on
Okay.
the agenda. Ricardo Rocha.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Ricardo Rocha. My address is 6670 East 69th Avenue. I'd like to begin by stating that the academic achievement of our students revolves around their safety and their well-being. Therefore, I disagree with you and your request to only focus on the positive in the curriculum. The history and the allegations from our district, from within our district, demand that we focus on all of it. It is indeed in the best interest of the community to allow for a public comment that encompasses the complexity of our district. In fact, it was therefore stated by the Office of Civil Rights. It is, in my opinion, that the most important way to hear from the community and build trust is by from learning and having an open dialogue from within the community. Dialogue not restricted by our board. Again, our time limit, 3 minutes, is enough of a barrier already. For over a year now, Voice 14 has called out and questioned and implored the attention to, and now laundry list of acts so demeaning to the function of public education that any other school district in the Front Ridge would certainly have called enough is enough, and would have rapidly removed any and all individuals that continue to disgrace, distract, and ultimately derail academic progress for the students, which we so much implore. Not ask us to stop talking about it in public comment or limit us by a time limit. Tonight, we remind the public that under the watchful eyes of Mr. Rolla, the children and families and employees of Adams County School District 14 have endured incomprehensible schooling conditions, have experienced one of the most egregious civil rights cases in recent history, whereas 14 agreements to resolve have yet been to be unresolved, and have yet to reap tangible benefits as a result of embarrassingly faulty and insufficient academic turnaround efforts. Board President Rolla, you have embraced and permeated a culture of fear in which a pervasive lack of accountability, transparency, and ethical responsibility persists. As indicated in our petition statement, which I shared with you all, the voters of Adams County District deserves to hold you accountable for refusing to be accountable, refusing to be transparent, and refusing to enact ethical responsibility. Over the last year and a half, we, Voice 14, have been largely disappointed at the lack of collective interest and response from the Colorado Department of Education, as well as other influential factions. given the facts are indeed better than fiction in this real-life soap opera we call Adams 14. From manning families to censoring board members, from collecting self-aggrandized public relations awards for progressive efforts and cultural responsiveness to ongoing allegations of discriminatory practices. I'm here to ask you, Mr. Rolla, now that the former board individual has resigned from his position, will you stand with us and help us alleviate the mess that you've created here in our district by stepping down as well from your position? Thank you.
Okay, moving on to superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rolla. I have to apologize to the audience because the person we're going to do a presentation on our data. She took ill today and had to go home, so I'm the replacement. I'm going to do the best I can with the data, so it's not going to be as good as Teresa, but I'm going to do the best I can, okay? You have the PowerPoint? You can move to the next one. Okay, this slide right here, it represents the two assessments that we have. It's called the Colorado Measure of Academic Success. And as you can see on the left, the Colorado developed assessments are for science and social studies. The assessment we're going to be talking about today is PARC, and that deals primarily with English language arts and math. The next slide, please. And I'm going to make it very simple for our parents or whoever is out there. As you can see, for the English language arts, the one on the left, really passing is exceeds expectation or you meet the expectations. The other categories, approaches means you're getting close and you're almost passing. But the ones that we're concerned about are the top two, and that is going to be true for the Colorado assessment and also for the PARC. Next slide, please. On this one, there's a lot of information, but it comes down to two things. The PARC in 2014, 2015 was given to students in grades 3 to 11 in English language arts. In math, it was students in grades 3 to 12. The following year, PARC was given to students in grades 3 to 9. That would be last year. The only change of the test was the first year was administered in 2 windows or 2 different months. Last year's test was given all at one time, at one duration. That doesn't mean all in one day, just one window. And here comes our data. On the next slide, it's a district data for English language arts and math. And when I go around to our board members or to our schools, I always ask, is our district better in language arts or in math? And as you can see right there, the blue one indicates how we did last year or the year before, and you can see that in our district, we always do better in language arts. This past year, it was the same thing. We had 16.5% of our students passing versus 10.6 for math. And again, the numbers are there. I don't know if you can see them. I know our board members asked for the numbers, but I'm going to keep it very simple for the people here. If we're at 16.5% in language arts, that's basically 16 out of 100 kids can pass the exam. We're not happy with those numbers, but the good thing is the state's not doing that well either because they're only doing 30%, so 30 out of 100 kids. And the key thing is probably it's a new test. Everyone has to get used to it. It's going to take about 4 or 5 years before we get true data. On the next one, it'll say how our students are doing on English language arts and math at the elementary schools. So in our elementary schools, are we better in language arts or math? And again, they're pretty close. If you look at the scores for 2 years ago, it was 15.2 versus 14.3 for math. That's not too bad. They're pretty close. Again, we're not happy with those scores, but it's up to the district to figure out how we're going to improve. And then this past year, again, elementary schools, it's pretty close. The number of kids passing the English language arts and the math. So that's a good thing. And again, I'm trying to simplify it for you. Here's the way I would look at it. If I'm looking at a classroom has approximately 20 students. When you're saying 15% of the students are passing, that's 3. 3 out of every 20 in a class are passing right now. Again, we're not happy with that. How does the state look? Again, the state is not doing that well either. There's 6 out of 20 students in every class. So we're not doing well, but we're not that far behind the state. And we're going to get better. So that's for grades 3, 4, and 5. You can read. Also, the next one, we're going to go with the middle school. At middle school, again, these are questions that we have to ask our teachers and our principals. If you look at the middle school, again, are we better in language arts or math? 2 years ago, we had 17.2% of our students passing language arts and 11.5 in math. That's a discrepancy. You know, we're not doing as well in math. And you're going to see that throughout the district. Last year, we had 70% of our students passing English language arts and 10 in math. Again, it's being pretty consistent in the district that our kids do better in language arts than they do in math. Again, these are questions we're going to pose to our schools and help and ask them to improve our scores. As superintendent, as the gentleman said, we're not satisfied. As I said, the percentage for the state is about 30%, not good, but our goal this year in our district is we're going to surpass the state. We want to do better than them, so we're going to try to identify the students in the classes, and we're going to shoot for at least 50% of our students passing the test. Also, let's move on to the high school, and again, the same question, and that's a big one. If you look 2 years ago, we had at the high school 21% of the students approximately passing language arts and only 4.5 in math. That's a big discrepancy. So we have to ask why. Why aren't our students doing that well in math? So it's not my answer. It's going to be that the schools have to figure that out. They have teams. They have unified improvement plans, and we're going to make sure that they address this concern in their unified improvement plan. For the parents that don't know, that's their plan that lets us know how are you going to have more students pass the math test? How are you going to have more students pass the language arts? So those are big questions for all of our schools. Again, if you look at the English language arts scores, make sure I'm on the right one, right? The highest score that you can see here is 22.9, and which students are doing the best? And I think these are the hardest students to reach. 8th grade classes are outperforming everyone in English language arts, 22.9%. So that's some hard work being done in 8th grade because middle school kids are very tough. If you look at our highest score for the 2015 school year, that was our 10th grade students. And again, it's going over to the high school. Again, these are not great numbers, but they're numbers that we have to figure out strategies on how we're going to help our kids succeed in both these areas. This is English language arts. Let's look at math again. And again, if we look at our highest math score in 2016, what grade level did the best? It was 3rd grade. And we had about 17.2% of our students. Again, using quick numbers, 3 out of every 20 in a class. In 2015, it was 18.2%, and again, it was our 3rd grade students that outperformed everyone, and that's close to 4 students out of every 20 in a class. So we have a lot of work to do. We're going to set very high expectations this year. We're going to sit down with our teams, but I think very important, what we need to do is really look at realistically where we're at, and as a board and superintendent and administrators, how can we support our teachers? How can we support our schools to do their job? We want to involve our parents because you're a very important component. We can't do it without you, so please make sure that you ask your schools, what can I do to help? We're not satisfied with these numbers. The next one we're going to show you is these are schools that are in the same place we are. If you look at the schools that are in 5th year of turnaround, you can see Adams is the first one out of all those districts. You know, this is how we compare to others. And again, we know we have to work hard, but if you're in year 5, you can see all the other schools where they're at. We're not doing as well as some of them, but we're not bad. I mean, but our goal again is going to be to surpass everyone, and we want to do that within a year or 2. Math, if you look again, it's just not us. I want to show you that when you see the low math test scores, it's not just Adams City, it's everywhere. So we have to not just look at our schools, we have to network with other districts and face the problem. Why aren't our students succeeding? And we've got to network not with just schools that are in 5th year. Let's look at the next slide. And this, like the gentleman said, we are a predominantly Hispanic district. And we have to face the fact that if you look at the districts that are not performing well, they're the districts that are primarily Hispanic. So we have to come up with strategies. We have to come up with ways to help our ELL students. When I got to the district, I heard it's going to take 7 years to help an ELL student learn English. And I talked to Dr. Khan, I said, we can't do that. It has to be in 2 years or less because we need to get the students to learn English so they can get into the academics. So our focus is changing. We're going to try to do the best we can in a short amount of time. Knowing that we have so many ELL students, we're trying to reflect that in the people that we hire. We're trying to hire people that understand English language development, understand ELL students, understand all these challenges they have. So we're bringing in experts. I hope that you see the people that we're going to hire within the next 2 weeks are people that are experts in this field, people that have taken schools from F to A in a very short period of time. And they're all coming out of the woodwork and saying, we want to help Adams 14. We want to be part of your team. So those aren't good numbers, but again, I want to show you that we are going to try to turn this around. Again, look at ELL students for English language arts. Again, districts that have a very high Hispanic population, they don't do well. So we're going to network with all these individuals. But again, I want you to know that we're going to set very high goals. Within a year or 2, I expect Adams 14 to be higher than every single one of these districts. We want to outperform everyone, and not just our ELL students, everyone here. We want to make sure that we do well. So we're setting very high goals. And some of the questions, again, that we're going to be asking is, why do our students perform better in English language arts and they don't perform as well in math? That's what we're going to post to our schools. In some of our schools, guess what? Math, they're doing better. So if you're doing better in math, share it with us so we can share with our other schools, because you found something that we don't have and you need to share that with us. And again, here was another trend that I saw in there. Our girls outperform our boys, and they really need to look at that, because there should not be that discrepancy. And if there is, what's going on in our schools? What kind of strategies do we need to help the boys keep their attention and help them pass? And again, we're going to set realistic goals. We're not happy with where we're at. We're not happy with where the state is at, but our goal is to get at least 50% of our students passing this test this year. And just by chance, if we don't meet the 50%, what if we land at 40? Guess what? We're still going to be better than the state average. So that's our goal. We want to outsurpass everyone, but again, I want to let everyone know this is a big commitment that we're making, our board and our superintendent, but we need our parents involved in the education of our children. Thank you.
I guess there's no student board. Moving on to routine items and consent items. Personnel, I need a motion for the passing of consent items.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, I got a question. business is the personnel action items, correct?
Pardon me?
Is it personnel?
We got to do, if you want
Right.
to talk something separately, we can move into executive session.
So consent items include 1.1, 2.1, and 2.2. Everything listed prior to business.
Right. No, I'm good right now.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, hearing no other, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 2.0, grants, superintendent's recommendation. I need a motion for the approval to accept Pathways Early Action Grant Funds.
So moved.
President Rolla? That was voted in consent.
That was what?
Voted in consent.
That was
It was in
consent item.
consent items.
Consent. All right, moving on to business. Policy 1.1, superintendent's recommendation, policy JLCDB, new third reading, adoption, administration of medical marijuana to qualified students. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion dies for lack of a second. Motion dies for lack of a second.
No second? Okay, no second. I guess we don't act on it. Moving on to 1.2, superintendent's recommendation, policy KFA revised, third reading adoption, public conduct on district property.
So moved.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Was that one they had a mistake?
They gotta go together.
What's that?
Those two have to go together. First one doesn't.
1.1.
Yeah, they all go together.
Which one, 1.1?
See, you have 4 of them that go to the marijuana. You
Mr.
have
Achuleta?
this one.
Point of order.
You have 4 of them that go with that marijuana.
These are all tied together, correct?
Some are tied in.
Yeah.
The marijuana.
First one died for lack of a second. So we can't act on any of the other ones either.
You could. But if you did, your only option would be option 2 on each of the other ones. To put it in plain English, since you didn't act on a policy, the primary policy authorizing administration of medical marijuana, then your choices on the other remaining policies would be to simply say that, for example, in KFA, if the administration of medical marijuana is in accordance with state law regarding medical marijuana administration to qualified students, such possession will not constitute a violation of this policy.
I would like to table all of them that go together until the time needed, when we need them. Because right now, you know, it's still against the federal law to administer marijuana.
You're correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, where would that jeopardize us? I understand the health clerks would not be giving it, that someone would have to come in to administer it to the student, but it's still against the federal law to do so, is what I'm thinking of. And I hate to get into the legalities of, you know.
You're correct, Mrs. Quintana. And if we learn of a student who needs the medical marijuana during school or at a school-sponsored event or on on-school transportation, we certainly would want to handle that situation one-off in accordance with what was represented earlier by a member of the public.
I understand what you're saying, but I used to be a health clerk. And you can't even give a Tylenol or an aspirin even if the parent signs a note. And that's just something over the counter. The parent knows what their child needs. But as a school official, we couldn't do that. So here we are trying to give children, and they're probably teenagers, but they may not be, medical marijuana. You see what I'm saying? It puts us in a dire straits, I think. I think we should wait, and if we get a student that requires it, then I'm thinking we could revisit that. That's me. And I'm going from when I worked as a health clerk, and I was that person for many, many years.
If it helps the board, well, you're understood. If it helps the board, if we learn of a student who needs this, we can pass a policy on an emergency basis for immediate implementation. But even if we passed such a policy, we would never, ever, even in accordance with state law, have any of our staff, including our health clerks, handling, storing, or administering medical marijuana. So if that could give you a little peace of mind, that would never happen, even under Representative Singer's bill, which has been passed into law.
Yeah, I'm just very uneasy with it, so.
I understand.
So you have made a motion to table?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you restate, Connie?
I would like to make a motion to table the marijuana portions of the agenda, and it looks like we have 4 of them.
Or 2.1, or 1.1 to 1.4.
Until there is a need, a necessity. If it arises, then we can revisit it. I'm not against children being treated for their ailments, but I do question some of the legality, because let's say one of our employees, just for instance, needed medical marijuana to function, maybe they are bipolar, maybe they have seizures. We take a urine test on them, and we find that in their system, they're fired. So I don't know, until we learn a little bit more, I think,
Okay, there's been a motion made. Is there a second?
Point of order. We have a motion on the table, seconded, that we need to deal with prior to her motion being made. So we need to deal with the first motion.
Okay, going back to the first motion, 1.2, Superintendent's Recommendation Policy KFA revised, public conduct on district property. I need a motion, okay. Need roll call?
Mr. Archuleta?
Nay.
Mrs. Quintana?
Nay.
Mr. Rolla?
Nay.
Mr. Thomas?
Nay.
Okay, now going back to Connie's motion, do your motion, Connie.
I would like to table administering medical marijuana until further discussion and information is given federally,
Is there,
or something arises that in the need of it.
there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, Monica?
So is the motion to table only 1.1 or 1.1 through 1.4?
All of them.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to other. Superintendent's recommendation, I need a motion for the approval of in-state overnight travel for Superintendent Colorado Association of School Executives case in Avon, Colorado.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Can we hop along with him?
Hearing none, could I have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 2.2, which was amended to the agenda, where the superintendent's recommendation approval of contracting with Mountain State Employers Council in an amount of not to exceed 41,500.
So moved.
Is there a second? No second? Okay, motion dies. Moving on to 2.3, superintendent's recommendation. Need a motion for the approval of out-of-state travel to Mobile, Alabama by Adams City High School Career and Technical Educational Department.
So moved.
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.4, need a motion for the approval to contract with Adams 12 School District to provide educational service for students who are deaf or hard of hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on, 2.5, I need a motion for the allocation of funds to increase 1.0 TAP for autism coordinator.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.6, superintendent's recommendation. I need a motion for the approval to contract with Tennyson Center to provide educational and therapeutic interventions for students with significant emotional disabilities.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could I have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.7, superintendent's recommendation. I need a motion for the approval to contract with Alpha Paris for incidental transportation services.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I'm reading it say due to staffing shortage, and we just hired 2 people in personnel. Are we still short, Superintendent?
This is for the transportation of special needs students.
Right. But it said due to staffing shortage. At the beginning, it said due to staffing shortage, there's a need. We just hired 2 personnel for transportation and personnel. So are we still short with the people, or what's going on?
I believe, Sandy, can you give us some information? with that?
Yeah, a couple of those individuals. So this was brought forward because at the beginning of the school year, we had a couple drivers leave us after the first couple days of school, leaving Al in a position where he didn't have drivers to cover some of the special needs routes. So he rearranged some of the routes, allowing this company to come in and transport those students with special needs on a temporary basis until we could fill the positions. I believe we're down to one position left to fill. So this was temporary and not intended to be long-term. And he's been successful in getting replacements. Sometimes it's unknown how long it would take to get somebody hired and on board. And I believe there are 2 that were in the packet, and a third one is being recommended here soon.
So in essence, we don't need to pay them the whole $20,000 if we already hiring 2 and we need one more person.
Yeah, no, I think that was worst case scenario is what he had brought forward at that time. I do not know what the bill is to help with that dialogue right now at this moment, but
I think the word is the maximum.
do not exceed, yeah. He was, when Al prepared the superintendent rec, it was worst case scenario in the event we went more than a month with several vacancies. So,
Because there's no dates in between here from start to finish, or if he hires somebody, is the contract going to be non-void after we get a third person hired because we hiring the 2? I'm just concerned about how long is the length, because if we don't hire, we saying personnel shortage. Are we coming back to the board to say, oh, we need some more money because we didn't hire enough, we still short people?
you're not approving additional budget, you're approving the relationship to enter into an agreement with this company. So this comes against the transportation's budget, regardless either way, whether it's a week, a day, a month. And so I don't know what the term was on it, if it was on an ad-need basis, but since it comes that way, it helps hold our leaders accountable because the budgets aren't unlimited. And I don't know what the future would bring if Al would need to come back forward to the board to ask for something in the future. I just know what today's situation is.
Thank you.
If I could add, Ms. Rolla, am I correct in reading this that we put aside $20,000 because by the law we have to transport our special education students?
That's correct. And it's coming from within the already appropriated transportation budget, yes.
But as we hire individuals, we may not have to spend this full $20,000.
That is obviously the full intent of,
Got it.
of what we would do.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
good, Carves.
I'm good.
All right, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.8, Superintendent's recommendation. I need a motion for the approval of in-state overnight travel to Breckenridge, Colorado by Career and Technical Education Department.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a discussion? Hearing none, could I have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on, 2.9, Superintendent's recommendation. I need a motion for the approval of in-state overnight travel to Keystone, Colorado by Human Resource Division.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.11, Superintendent's recommendation. I need a motion for the approval of Adams 14 and School District 14 Classroom Teachers Association TCTA negotiation approval.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes. Are we to discuss this out here or go in executive session?
What?
I don't think we're ready for this one, are we?
If it's about an expenditure, you can discuss it out here.
Okay.
If it's about individuals,
No. I'm not sure if it's in their contract, but this BOE approved $135 a day for subs. And then if I'm looking at personnel, which I read, it's saying based on how long the contract of that person is. Then I looked on this website, it says substitute teachers at $112 pay. The BOE, this board approved $135 per day per sub. Is that in their contract?
I think we're talking about two different things here. Am I correct? Are we talking about the Adams 14 and School District Classified Employees Association?
No.
No?
Teachers.
Oh,
Teachers,
I'm sorry.
CTA.
I'm on the wrong one then. I'm on the wrong one. I'm sorry.
That one we pulled out the classified,
Okay.
CCSEA.
CCSEA. We pulled out.
that one.
So we on the third.
This one here, though, I think they're two different things. This one is to approve the teachers, because they finally negotiated, it's complete.
The contract.
The contract, right.
Yes,
But
and
is
that's different from that, from what you're talking about.
Is that in their contract? What we approve, because we approve $135 per day for a sub, this board did.
Right, but I don't think that's part of this. This is just a big contract that we're happy with the raises that they got, and they ratified the entire verbiage on that.
Okay, so why is the 112 that's been posted on the website saying that a substitute teacher get $112? Then also, back in personnel, it's so that a sub is getting, based on his contract, this board here approved $135 per day for the subs, so we can compete around the neighboring area. So.
Can you help us with that, HR, Ms. Shamlin?
Subs are separate from the teacher agreement. So yes, you did approve an increase for substitutes. We haven't had an opportunity to update our website. Pam needs to be trained, from what I understand, to be able to manage our particular area. And with, changes and that type of thing, we're just waiting our turn to get those skills up to par so that information can be updated. But all of the substitutes are aware of the increase, and it is also on when they log into our sub-finding system, ASOP, there's a little note. So anytime they log in to check for a job, there's a reminder of what our rate is. That is completely separate from the teacher agreement that's before you right now to be voted upon.
Okay, thank you.
But he was correct. Our subs are being paid at $135.
They are being paid at $130
$130.
because that's what we had approved,
Okay.
not $135.
The board,
130.
We approved 135 or 130? I'm not.
130.
130, okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
But I got another question, Ms. Shamlin.
Yes.
So are they gonna pull that off the Channel 8, because it's showing high?
Is it on Channel 8 as well?
Yes, it is.
Ooh, thank you.
112.
No, I was not aware that it was on Channel 8, so we'll get that changed there as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, going back to, is there any other discussion? All right, hearing none, can I have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.12, Superintendent's recommendation. I need a motion for Adams 14 Administrators Compensation Package approval.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.13, Superintendent's recommendation. I need a motion for the approval of Adams 14 Support and Technical Compensation Package approval.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Can I bring up, I know I brought this up last year, about the meet and confer books for the administrators and the support and tech. I would like, I know this is a contract, but I would like to have those back in for the workers, if possible. I think what we discussed it before, because they pulled them out over a year, and I just would like to have them back in so the workers, the groups, the support and tech, and the administrators have some recourse, you know, if something goes not the way they like it or a dispute. I would like them to have in writing what they can do. You know, verbal is sometimes is okay, but it's better when people see that little booklet.
Right.
And I know I have the administrators, but I don't have, I think Larry had the support and tech one. But I don't know, I just think it's important all the way around for all the employees to have something to fall back on if they need it.
Are you making a motion to?
No, well, I'm just saying I would like, I don't mind, it's different, but I just thought since we were talking about contract, to throw that in there.
All right, any other discussion?
I got a question. What Ms. Quintana is saying, so you want them to have like a book or something?
They had one before, but the former people took it out. I'll just put it that way.
So can we make a motion for the staff, the support and tech staff to get those books?
Is that part of the agenda?
For support and tech. Is that part of the agenda?
No, but
But you can make a motion.
I can make, I would like.
But we gotta act on this
Okay,
first and
okay.
then, okay. So going back to the motion on.
But hang on, we're still in discussion, correct?
On this one, yes.
I think, and help me here, Walt, I think we can make a motion to amend the contract negotiation for the technical compensation package to include the booklet being installed with the contract.
You could do that. I believe there is already, I could be wrong, but I believe there is already a support and tech booklet.
So then Mrs. Quintana's motion would be a motion to amend this to include that, if it's not there.
Sure.
If I'm correct, it was pulled
The-
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, so.
If there is one, you would just like to motion that.
To bring it back in, reintroduce it.
If it's there, then we
Yeah.
just continue to give, if not. bring it
Because the reason I say, before you could go online and find the CTAs, the CCSEA, and you could find the administrators, and you could find the support and tech. Those two are gone. So I would like a motion to, when it's,
Second.
to bring that back
Is there any other discussion on?
for both of the departments. Okay.
Okay, hearing none, could we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Now going back to the original, right? Or is that up?
You mean to make a motion
Two. For.
or what?
That was your motion.
Yeah,
Wilson.
okay.
Now we vote on this.
Now going back to 2.13, Superintendent's recommendation, Adams 14 support and technical compensation package approval.
Roll call.
Well, there was, okay, roll call.
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.14, board recommendation. I need a motion for the approval of the District Accountability Advisory Committee, DAC, charter changes, and representatives for 2016-2017 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Is there discussion?
Yes. Where's the Building Accountability Advisory Committee? Where's that at? Yeah.
Those are actually approved at the school level. So in policy AER, I believe. Let's see. Members of the BAC shall be appointed by the principal of each school.
Correct. But policy AE-E states accountability process timetable. And also, September the 1st, back should have been just like that in front of this board so we can approve the buildings. Also, too, October 1st, we supposed to go through everything too with back. So I'm asking, we got DACs to approve it. We don't have back the building. So I understand that we approved it and you were supposed to, I assume, get back with the board. And then I see publicized opportunity to serve and solicit parents and serve on the DAC and building accountability committees. And that's in here, and I see it on the Channel 8 website. But now you're saying that the principals, which I understand, who the superintendent is supposed to get back, but we're supposed to get dates because each one of those board members has those different schools. And DAC has the whole year printed out, which we can approve. So I'm just questioning how come we haven't got back. Is there, do we have any knowledge of what's going on with the building committees, superintendent?
I may be a little confused. I know the building committee, I'm assuming, is the Unified Improvement Plan. That's not that
This is
one?
the Building Accountability Advisory Committee.
Okay.
So what we were doing, we took from the last board meeting, I believe the request was that we send out the flyer, send it out to principals with all of the DAC schedules there, and that you wanted to be made aware of what the schedule was for, the calendar was for individual schools. And I think specifically you were asking for those to be sent to the building representative, if I remember correctly. So to each of those of you who at each building. What happened was we sent that out to the parent liaison as well as to the principal and possibly the assistant principal at each one of the buildings. So these are the dates. We also sent an additional material of a proposed or suggested timeline so that we can coordinate all of the responsibilities with DAC, BAC, and the School Board of Education activities. And since then, I'm not sure if the principals were able to get back to you. And so what I'm hearing is that you have not had that feedback from them for an agenda or schedule.
It'll go to the superintendent or go to Monica to get it back to us. But if we talk about policies, by September 1st, school level committees adapt building goals and objectives. Today is the 13th. We approving DAC. So if we're going by policy statements, which you stated to me, and I'm bringing up this policy, we are missing the Building Accountability Committee because we're approving DAC. Well, you're telling me you send stuff to the principal, so I'm asking the superintendent, can he look into this so we can approve this if we're going by accountability process timeline, and by September, this is the 1st, we're doing DAC, by October the 1st, and that's policy. So
I will look into that for you. I'm sorry, I was a little bit confused because the one that I'm familiar with that we sent information to the principals that I was going to bring to the committee was our Unified Improvement Plan, which is, it looks like it's pretty close to that one. It's almost the same because they have to submit their goals, objectives, the plan to improve the educational achievement. All the graduation rates is in the Unified Improvement Plan, but if there's another one, we'll make sure we get them both.
yeah, it's a board policy stating BAC's supposed to have the same type of representatives in the school buildings as DAC. Same type of everything. But we don't have that today, and that's why I'm questioning how come.
We can get the DAC one by the next meeting. Am I correct?
Absolutely, we'll get back to you.
So Daniel, let me ask you a question. Because when we moved back to the monthly meetings at DAC,
Right.
My assumption, pardon me for assuming this, but this is about DAC.
Yeah, this is what we discussed. So can you hold it till?
Oh, but this is, we're on this one, right?
If you're going to discuss DAC, it's a discussion.
Oh, okay, all right, I'll hold off.
Okay, I don't know. I think.
Yeah, right, we're on DAC.
So, okay, is there any other discussion?
Well, there is discussion on this because the DAC is asking for us to give them some direction on this. That's what this policy is. Not this one?
That's the next agenda item.
That's the next.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm ahead of you.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.15. Need the approval to accept Director Robert Bashaw's resignation.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, Monica?
Mr. Achuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 3.0, discussion DAC.
Now we're talking, okay, thank you.
The discussion on DAC there?
I believe all the board members received the letter from DAC leadership regarding the additional issues that they would like to study for the year. So the requirement from the state as well as per policy is that at least annually, the DAC must cooperatively determine with the local school board the areas and issues in addition to budget issues that the DAC shall study and make recommendations upon. So because it's cooperatively, and you have the list of the additional issues in front of you, what we're hoping to do is, from your discussion, gather what your feedback is, and you can say no additional issues. As you know, the list is already quite lengthy. You could say these few from the list, everything in the list, or maybe even items that are not included in the list. And then we'll take that back to DAC to have them make final decision.
So I have a question.
Yes.
And I hear you, Mr. Cerna. Exactly, DAC as the entity that it's supposed to be. It is supposed to be made up of community members and business leaders and not necessarily the administration of the buildings. So my recommendation is that we postpone this until we can get to a DAC meeting and figure out what is going on at DAC, because we need to have the community members involved. Otherwise, DAC is not an accountability to this board and to this administration. They're not holding us accountable if they're in cahoots with us, per se. So I would recommend that we don't act on this until we can have that meeting with these people.
So I guess my question would be, did any parents sign up for the presidency? So I guess the only two individuals that signed up were the two that work for a school district. Well, I don't know, was it made available to, were they known that it should be parents and not employees of the district? That, yeah, get them on.
Their community staff and they meet
The question was asked, is there anybody here that would like to be the chair? No volunteers. Secretary? No volunteers. Teachers? Some volunteers. As I remember it, I may not have it all. What I'm saying is that the process of accountability is to train parents from pre all the way to 12 so that they know procedures of education as they move along in each grade and get the knowledge to be able to do what Mr. Demio did. He was chair. He knows the community. The teachers, the principals know him. But when you give it right away and make a decision right there, if you can't get one parent out of 600 or 1,200, because there's two parents there, then why have a committee at all? Are you really getting the true representation and the accountability that you deserve by state law and perspective? And are our children, communicating what they want, in particular at the high school or at the elementary, that parent knows that there's a process? There's rules and regulations, and we're supposed to follow those rules, not give it a detour and say, well, over here it says this, and this, and it's okay to get a volunteer. You're not challenging the parents. You're giving it to them. And parents have got to be challenged, because the importance of what the parents that were here with their kids showed the example that the parents and kids that are not represented. I don't have no doubt that the kids that graduated from the high school and got their degrees or their scholarships, or that these kids are not going to be successful because the parents are involved. The curriculum comes right here, but that standard has got to be high, because this district in the history, and I can sit down with the superintendent and explain to him the why we're here, because accountability before you board members were appointed or elected failed because of that lack. When we came in and it was given direction that you wanted accountability, the participation started. Now, I don't blame anybody for the lack of this last year. But that doesn't mean that we give up on the parents and say, okay, we'll put all the employees there. That's not accountability. And I'm giving this as a concern, okay? Not complaining, but there is a way of doing it. And that's, you mentioned it one time, of going to the buildings and having a board meeting there. And you asking the parents, we need you. Because it's not enough to paint a building, okay, or a library when the kids need a brand new school. And it's their responsibility, not yours. It's their responsibility to meet the needs of this district when it comes to the high standard of high tech. They have to take it on. When all these buildings were built, it was the people that were here first that built them. Now they're old. You can do all sorts of repairs, but they're still old. The roofs are old. There's new technology in building these buildings to bring in high tech, and the money that we spent last year to implement some of this. That's what I'm talking about when it's accountability. Yes, we're going through a struggle, but that doesn't mean that we lower the standard and say, it's okay, we're doing our best. When the state says we need 75% to graduate, we're not meeting that standard. And our kids have proven since 1972 that time after time after time, that if you challenge them, they will meet the challenge. The teachers will meet the challenge, okay? That's all I'm saying. And communicating with the parents. Don't let them, don't just give it to them and say, okay, well, you can't do it, you know. Those parents need that responsibility on their shoulders. And that's what makes it successful. The parents backing up the kids and its community. You volunteers, the time that you spend, okay? You hold the superintendent and everybody else accountable for the money that's spent. But the community has got to support you, because we need new buildings, not just the curriculum, but for these kids to be able to get their jobs when they wish after high school, and be able to be competitive if they so desire to go into the workforce. And we know that our kids have 7 to 8 jobs that they will go through their life, and maybe 14 by the time they graduate, especially the little ones. That's what you have to look at. And that's why I'm concerned, because that's why accountability was set forth in this state. because they wanted to hear from the community so that you can transfer it to the State Department and maybe they can lobby for what we need. And that's the state to give all that marijuana and put it into new buildings in the state of Colorado, not just District 14. That's all I got to say. So please give us, challenge administration.
And I don't disagree with that sentiment, for the simple fact, and that's why I asked that we postpone this until we can get to a DAC meeting. I apologize for not making last DAC meeting. We had a board meeting.
No, look,
I
understand
but
that.
we've got to get the community people involved.
And I'm glad I made it,
And
okay?
it's their responsibility to control DAC.
Yes.
It's not our responsibility, but it's their responsibility.
And the leadership is there,
My
Daniel.
understanding is under the law, there has to be parental guidance there,
Yes.
not administrative staff.
So that's all I'm saying.
Renee?
I just have a quick statement. If you could please include an agenda, because as a parent, that helps me, because I started going to DAC, and then I get there, and it would be talking about whatever, and there were times that I really needed to be there and times that I didn't, but I think it will help bring the community if we know, okay, we're gonna talk about these 5 points, or one of them is to gather community involvement, then giving that notice might help involvement.
So, thank you. That's all I got to say.
So I think we can charge Daniel with some, if that's okay with everybody, to get the message out to the parents again. Yes.
Before the first meeting of DAC, we posted on Channel 8 the DAC, the DAC meetings, the agendas, the rough agendas, as far as what the starting time was, the dinner. We also posted it, or we sent it out to our parent liaisons, which then emailed it out to our parents, those that they had. They made phone calls to those who were highly involved. The flyers were produced that you had requested prior to the event in Commerce City. Those were handed out at the event in both English and Spanish. We also sent it out to the previous email list that we had going from everyone who showed interest the previous year. DAC, so the parents that were nominated, and I put this in quote as parents or administrators or teachers who were nominated, they also have to be parents or community members here, right? So these are teachers, yes, the two that you have in the charge that you just approved, Isabel Garcia and Lisa Rodriguez. Both of those are employees of the district, but they're also community members, and I believe they're also parents. Now, if you look down below the charge that you just approved, you'll see at least 3 parents of students enrolled in the district. I believe the 3 filling that role are only parents, exclusively parents. We didn't have an interest from the parents to take on that administrative piece of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay? But the people who are serving currently as chair and co-chair, also have interests as community members and parents, as well as being teachers.
And to back Mr. Archuleta up, Timio, Mr. Archuleta.
No relation.
2.14, board recommendation, approval of District Accountability Advisory Committee DAC charge and representative for 2016-2017 school year. We just approved that.
Yeah.
So we approved everything Mr. Archuleta is bringing to our attention. He just going over the letter that they sent us on September the 7th. And if I read the letter a couple of days ago, it states that they asking us as a board to pull the bullet points out that what we think should DAC go. We can't stop DAC now. We just approved DAC. We can't just say DAC, we can't stop it. We just approved that just now. What Mr. Archuleta doing right now is discussing what we need to do further before the next DAC meeting, which he's trying, I believe, I'm not putting words in his mouth, for us to come together and say, hey, we want the whole letter they submitted, the bullet points, take some bullet points out, and go from there. But we have to choose now from that letter what we need to do as a board because it's already voted on.
That's correct. And also the bullet points that you see in that charge that you just approved, those are already the issues that they have to cover this year.
Is there any way to, it's an old-fashioned way, but I think parents would see it, 2 weeks before your DAC meeting or your BAC meeting, you do send out a flyer, send it home the old-fashioned way. You know, I know it uses a lot of paper, but parents are more apt to see that piece of paper, make it a fluorescent yellow, something pink, I don't care. Something that's going to catch the parent's eye because, you know, sometimes, like, I look through my emails, I'll just skim through what's the title? Okay, I don't want to see that. You know, is there any way, 2 weeks, that's one thing we learned, and it's old teaching, but attention span is 2 weeks. You know, send it 2 weeks before your meeting. So the parents have it in their mind that that's, oh, I have to go to this. Put it on your calendar. You know, I don't know. If I get something a month, 2 months ahead of time, forget it. I will not know it. And it's not my age. Could be, but you know what I'm saying? We need something that's going to catch their attention, get them interested. You know, it's not that they don't want to be involved. I think sometimes we put it out too much in advance. And maybe just...
Absolutely. Yes, we can look into that.
And I think that should be the school's responsibility. You know?
Have we even looked at maybe 5:30 is too early?
I think it is, because parents
you
are...
put at 5:30, most people are working till 4 or 5. By the time they get through all that traffic, it's already
6
too
or
late,
7.
6 o'clock, and they're not going to come for just going from 5:30 to 7.
Right.
So my recommendation would be maybe we should start looking at 6. Go from 6 to 7:30 if that's an hour and a half is our time limit.
And usually what we do is we allow for food, the congregation, that conversation at the beginning, so the food would be served at 5:30, and then we normally start the DAC agenda then at 6:30, but allow for that fellowship between the principal and any discussion that they need to have with principal, parents, and DAC at their tables with parents who are coming in.
Do DAC have a budget?
Actually, I'm not sure which budget DAC comes out of.
It's part of the START budget is where it's been.
So, Mr. Archuleta, to ask Ms. Quintana, say, far as printing out stuff, literature for the DAC, it'll come out of the STAR?
START.
The
yeah,
START
learning
budget?
Services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where the meals that are provided that night and any other type of expenditures for DAC have
And I
come
know
from.
every department has a print budget.
It's all part of the
Yes.
allocation, yes. So they could use the print shop, they could use the copier upstairs. Either one would be charged to their budget.
I think that's something what they need to do is, so the parents get, keep it in mind that that's, 2 weeks from now, and we're gonna start it, give them enough time to get home from work. They
Absolutely.
don't have to worry about cooking because there's the food.
And childcare
And
and
childcare.
translation services, absolutely. And if you see or translation services, sorry. If you see the third bullet point to the last in the charge, it's actually the DAC's responsibility. And I couldn't agree more that this needs to be led by the parents, by the community members. The third to the last bullet point says publicize opportunities to serve and solicit parents to serve on the DAC and Building Accountability Advisory Committees. That's part of their charge. It's one of their responsibilities. The one below that is directly regarding the family engagement policy. And then the one below that is regarding the family engagement on READ Act, college and career planning, individualized plans. So all of those are actually part of the responsibility of DAC and BAC members. The issue that we've had, I think, the last 2 years is getting parents, community members really engaged to start having those discussions.
Yeah, get them. Keep it down.
I will. 1 minute.
Nothing is mentioned about the building level accountability. And that's where you get your representation. If the principal is doing his or her job, they should be pushing district accountability at the building level accountability and the importance of that. And how they can bring their issues to the district accountability to be looked at and recommend to you and the superintendent
And I think
as to what is happening.
I think that's what I was.
But that has been,
But it
you know,
goes to the schools to start building that up, you know, sending those notices to the parents and putting that reminder in there about DAC.
Yes.
You know, bring your concerns, your building concerns, but bring them also.
and it's that administrator in that building that is responsible for getting that participation through the district accountability from each classroom by letting those parents know when it is, the importance of it, and educate them why it's important to be there. That's all I got to say.
Going back to that also, going back to a little bit what Guillermo was saying, building accountability, I don't think our principals are, God, I forgot the word I was going to use. Anyway, where they concede ways to get parents in there. Every time they have back to school, and I go to the elementaries back to school, there's over 400 people at this. So if we have these, you know, going back to one of our former principals at Hanson, every Friday morning it was breakfast with Judy. 40 to 75 people would attend that breakfast. So our principals sometimes have to go a little extra to do this. If you could just do at least once a month of breakfast with the principal, or snacks with the principal or something, and these principals could let them know what is happening, because they're there. I attend the elementaries on some of these back to school. Like I say, they put performance on. We don't have enough seats to sit the parents that come and watch their child perform. So it's just the imagination that principals have to do to get parents to come in. Once you get the parents buying, then they can say, well, you know, not just here, we need you over at the DAC to express what's going on. And so, I don't know, maybe you can talk to the principals, set up.
Well, the first thing I want to say to the board is, you know what, we need to get out to our schools, because I've been visiting the schools. I visited Adams City Middle School today, and everything you said, Mr. Rolla, is taking place. If you go to that school on Thursday, you're going to see they're going to have their back to school night, and they've invited me and invite all board members to go, because you will see they get a lot of people out. Also, I talked to the principal, and one of the questions I ask is, what are you doing to get parents into your schools? Everything you just said. He meets with the students for breakfast. They get about 20, 30 families out there. So our principals are doing it. We just have to make sure that we get the word out, because I don't think our board knows what they're doing, and our parents. But as a team, we need to go out and support them, because we're seeing a lot of things that we want to see done, but they're being done in our schools. And if you look again at their plans, they have to incorporate those things. We've asked them to do that. How are you improving your scores? How are you bringing parents into your schools? And when you see their plans, you will see that they are doing these things. But I encourage you to please go out there and see what's going on in our schools, because everything that you're saying is taking place in our schools today. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
May I?
I'd like to just make one more comment. I think it is my responsibility as a board member to get out and I've been trying to recruit people to attend the DAC meetings. I don't know all of the parents, but I know a lot of the parents, and I still talk to a lot of the parents that came when I was a member of DAC, and I still talk to them. But they've kind of checked out because of the fiasco we had last year. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it didn't work too well for the parents. So Mr. Rolla made a recommendation that we move DAC back to once a month, and as the parents say, we can give up a night's time for our children. That's what they say. A month, once a month, we can do that for our children. So I think it's my responsibility, and hopefully the board agrees with me that it's their responsibility to get out and start recruiting people, to meet with the parent liaisons, continue that conversation that I've had with a lot of the parent liaisons. How do you get your parents here do me a favor, bring them. They don't have to come to everyone. Bring them to 1 or 2 or 3. But I'm going to take on the charge to get out and visit as many of the parent liaisons that I can, to make sure that they're at least reaching out to them and letting people know the importance of DAC. It's a very important. Not only is it legally responsible for us to do, it's morally responsible for the parents to get out and be part of their community. So I'm gonna do my part to do that.
Mr. Kramer, you had something to say?
Just briefly on Ms. Quintana's point. Her point touches on our obligation under Title VI. We must not only communicate with parents in a language they understand, but in a manner they understand. And the regulatory agency, in this case, the Department of Education of the United States, has been really clear with us that from their perspective, a predominantly electronic manner of communication with parents does not work for Adams 14, and that there must be the type of paper and ink communications that Ms. Quintana referenced. And so I just want to point out that there is a legal manifestation of that obligation, and Ms. Quintana is actually very correct, and that while it's great to put things on Channel 8 and it's great to do electronic postings, all good, the primary method of communication must be in a manner that is designed to actually reach our parents coming into the buildings.
Another one, talking about electronic stuff. How many of our schools are still missing boards?
Oh, there are signs.
Or, the...
I think they all have them.
Keys?
There's only 3 of them in the district that are electronic, or actually 4, including in high school.
that are electronic?
That are electronic marquees.
Yeah, the marquees. So maybe we got to start looking as a district to update these schools. Maybe we can't update the buildings because we don't have that kind of money, but maybe we could set up something to work with the PTAs or whatever they're called now. If they can come up with some money, and then the district or the board or the school can match what they have and come up with some marquee, because in the morning, if you drive to the elementaries and to the high schools, parents are dropping off those kids left and right, and if you could put it on the marquee saying DAC meeting or back meeting or back to school meeting or something, that it would help them, would help the parents recognize that, since you're saying that maybe they don't get Channel 8, maybe they don't have a computer, I don't know, but at least we could provide some.
I think another affordable way to look at it is using our transportation department, because those buses are going around the city and in front of the schools and around our community. If we put those reminders out every so often on our buses when they're going around.
Well, that'd be good, yeah, just like the RTD puts advertising. We could put some that's there. Thanks.
I mean, I'll give you just a little example, Daniel, of what we did, and you were part of it, with the little postcard that we sent out to the schools, and then they can print them off in the print shop. You know, the students can make them. And that's what we asked the students to do, was make a reminder that it's DAC meeting, and do it however you want, decorate it however, put balloons on it, put handprint, do whatever you want. And they made the cards, and it attracted people. I mean, they'd go to the DAC meeting carrying their card, and that couldn't have cost us that much money to get the message out to the people, because one side was in English, the other side was in Spanish, so you could look at them either direction. So it's just ideas of, I mean, I hear you, Guillermo, we need to get the community back involved.
All right, other discussion, as I talked to Mr. Archuleta here, he has mentioned to me about a town hall meeting with the community and the board. So would you like to explain more on that, Mr. Archuleta?
Yes, and a lot of times I may not look like I'm paying attention to what's going on out there, but I hear every single thing that is being said and asked for. And we had this conversation with Mr. Rolla. I've had it with Connie, with Harvest, and I hear people saying that they want to have a meeting, a safe meeting where they can air some differences. And what I tell everybody is I can't act on that meeting, but we can have the meeting and listen to what you have to say. And maybe there's some things we can fix, and maybe there's some things we can't fix. But we need to have that communication with the people. And I wished that a lot of people that left here tonight were still here tonight to hear my plea to them. Because I think it's a meeting, if I can get consensus from this board tonight, that we're gonna have a town hall meeting. We'll find a place that they feel safe to have that meeting. And I think we should go out and hear, because there's a lot of positive out there that people aren't talking about, along with a lot of negative that people are talking about. And people only focus on the negative. So I think if we could get everybody who wants to attend and anybody that wants to attend from this district to come and hold this board accountable for what they believe we're not doing, or for them to help express what they believe we are doing. So I'm going to meet with, if I can get consensus with the board here, with some of the parent liaisons to get that message out to these people, to set this meeting up and see if we can have that meeting where people can air their differences and lay it on the line. I mean, I've reached out to a couple of people. I let Mr. Rolla know I was going to reach out to them. They declined, respectfully declined. And I get it. I understand exactly that, people are upset. They're upset about a lot of different things. But they have to understand that some people are happy with the way things are going, and we represent everybody on the board, not just the ones that are having issues. We represent the ones that are having successes also. So I think it would behoove us to have that meeting with these folks, and I agree that maybe it doesn't have to be on school property, although school property is probably the best place to do it, because we can have an auditorium or something. We can do it at the high school if enough people are going to come. But if they're not happy doing it there, I don't have a problem meeting them at the park. I don't have a problem meeting them at wherever they want to meet. I think it's time that we met with our constituents.
And going back a little bit on that, a lot of times we get a lot of people come in and they tell us the problems that they met. Well, you know what? You have the problem. What's the solution? If you're telling me there was a problem, if I have a problem because I wasn't ready to go to college, well, okay. But what did the school do wrong that did not prepare you to go to college or get here? We hear all the problems, but we never hear what's your solution to it. My solution could be different than Timuel's solution. And so we got to hear all these solutions of what we're doing wrong. If you want us to solve the problems, and I mean, I'm sorry, but as Timuel said, the people that should be here, that should come and should have listened to this, is we know we have problems. If we ran perfectly, we wouldn't have nothing. Everything would be good. But yeah, yes.
Hi, Jesse Martinez. Board. I'm Jesse Martinez, the manager of community engagement here in Adams 14. So I do come from Denver Public Schools, and I've been here since July 18th. We do have some things going on as far as like the community forum. In 2 weeks, we'll be having a superintendent parent forum, which is going to be at Our Lady Mother of the Church. We are anticipating having an outreach of parents to come to this event. Basically, this event is really looking at kind of the state of the district and getting like an activation point with our parents related to parent engagement in the district. So at this forum, we'll actually be like doing a charge. So how do you get involved with DAC? How do you get involved in BAC? How do you get involved in your schools? This is a great opportunity for us to kind of have a conversation and a platform with our parents about Adams 14. Additionally, I think there's like an information gap. What we say in family engagement is like, if we want to close the achievement gap, we need to close the information gap our parents have around how to support their child's learning. I think a lot of the reasons why probably our parents are not engaged in DAC or BAC is because they don't understand what DAC, the purpose of DAC is, or BAC. So I think there's a huge information gap that we need to fill for our parents to be fully engaged.
When you have those engagements, can you please give us dates so
Yes.
maybe we could attend? And
So
where?
a lot of this is like my charge is really wanting to build parents as academic partners here in the district. So in next week, we'll be having a family literacy night where we're actually engaging parents around read plans. So that's another charge with the DAC and the BACs that we're going to be approaching.
I think we got that in an email, am I correct? The forum with the superintendent? Yeah. We did get it in an email. Yeah.
So yes, I know that we're doing some good work and thinking about like moving forward with this. I think we're getting good traction. A lot of our family liaisons, we did a professional development training 2 weeks ago, talking about high impact parent engagement activities. And they're super excited about wanting to do the work. Even our school leaders understand high impact parent engagement activities. So we are setting the bar high, as Dr. Abrego says, around parent engagement within the district. It's just a matter of mobilizing our parents around that. So just wanted to share that with you.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank
And I'm going to take it upon myself to make the outreach to as many people as I possibly can, because I know there's issues out there that I hear about, but I don't really have any substance of anything. So-and-so says this about that or that, I don't have any substance. And you know what? I want people to hold me accountable, but I also want to hold people accountable too, because I don't want to hear what somebody else had to say. I want to hear it from you. If it's happening to you, tell me where it is, why, all that stuff, because it's not a personal thing. This is all about, as Barb says, it takes a community to raise a family. And I agree with that statement, because it takes all of us. I can't do it alone. People can't do it alone. I know that there's some issues in the community that are there. They're long-standing. They just need to be maybe just heard and they'll go away, or maybe addressed. But we've got to get involved with the community. That's my charge as sitting up here. That's one of the things that the community wants me to do. And I'm asking the board, let's do it. So if I can get a consensus, I'll start setting it up.
Harvest?
Is it board policy? This is what Dr. Abrego always say. Is it board policy? That's all I'm asking.
I don't believe there's a policy that can direct me to not meet with my constituents.
Right, but you asking this board to go with you to meet with your constituents, and then for us to meet with a constituent, that has to be posted. That is a board meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna have a board meeting in that sense, we gotta do it the right way by board doing it the right way.
Right.
It has to be posted.
It has to be posted, it has to be done correct.
And I don't think you have to say it's a meeting, because you may just go to a football game or something like that, and all we have to do is make it aware that, we may have more than 3 board members at this function, but it's accidental. It's not for meeting purposes. It's just to hear our constituents.
Well, I want to have a meeting with them.
Okay.
Connie?
So I want to call for a meeting.
We tried that with, remember the exiting staff? We as a board set it up and we met with them and we listened to them. We couldn't have any input, but we listened to their concerns. We let them do the talking. I think it would be okay, but I don't think you can make it mandatory, is what I'm saying.
I'm not making it mandatory.
No, I'm just saying,
asking.
I think we have to have some guidelines on it, and if it's part of like the OCR thing to bring the community together, I don't see a problem with it. Because it's meeting with the community.
I guess what we could do is, so we stay with, do not break the sunshine law, is that 2 of us, and I'd be willing to go with you, Timio, to meet with them. And I gotta listen, see what they say. They're after my head, which is all right, as long as they don't go after my family and friends. Let them come after me, but I'll be glad to go out there with you. And
I think, I don't have a problem with it, as long as it's posted, so we don't break
let's have the sunshine.
the sunshine law, so it's posted, then just in case 3
But
or
I
4
believe
of us
some-
appear.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I believe some of the members or some of the community members are asking for that meeting.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, we just need to make sure it's posted so we're not in trouble.
Okay, would you like to? Gizmo, keep it short.
Minuto.
Making any decisions, all you have to do is listen.
That's what I just said.
I just want to make that clear. And I think you can be there as long as you don't participate.
Make decisions, yeah.
You just listen to what.
Yes, amen.
Okay, so you want to sit?
So if I can get a consensus of the board, I'll do it, or if you.
Well, we got
I
three.
think that-
Is there consensus?
We already did.
So
Thank you.
set up a date, and so we
Make
can
sure it's
post
posted.
it out there. We can send it to Monica. She could post it because there'll be three of us there, or four maybe if Harvest is not busy that night. Okay.
Thank you.
You have to go to
Alright.
work. We have people here. Work.
Dr. Brago, anything for communications out there?
No, I think we've discussed enough.
All right. Anyone else on the board? Anything? Okay. Well, the only thing I got to do so far is I got to watch the football team play. Harvest and I were there last Friday. He got there on time. I thought it was a 7 o'clock game, and it turned out to be a 6 o'clock. But the kids, they worked hard. It was good things going on at the school. The kids were really fantastic there. So I haven't been to see a softball or volleyball, but I will get there.
I want to say one thing. I didn't make it to the spaghetti dinner because my husband had a anaphylactic shock. You know, he ate something he shouldn't have ate, so I had to take him to the emergency room.
Well, he's okay now.
And he puffed up like a balloon. So,
Okay, is that it?
I was gonna say I went to the ROTC barbecue. They had some good hamburgers and hot dogs, and had a good time.
Okay, Timmy.
And I would like to just thank everybody for their thoughts for Leroy Quintana. I happen to be related to Leroy Quintana, so it's just a big thank you from me to all of you that expressed your condolences to the family. It's a great family. I mean, he's just a good guy. All he cared about was finishing those 2 schools he was working on. I mean, and for the school district to allow his people that he worked with time to attend the services was huge to the family. And I'm here to tell you thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I think from the bottom of their heart, for everything that the school district did on his behalf. Thank you. And thank you for all of your support in helping get a lot of the paperwork and everything done. But that's just a personal thank you.
Timio, I just want to agree with you because I've known Leroy a lot of years. I worked with him. And never once did that man ever say a cross word or a bad thing about anybody. Anybody. You know, he was just that kind of a person. And I just want to say he was a great one to know and to talk with. And, you know, he was about the district. And his family, though.
Yes, I worked with Leroy also a lot of times, and not to get him in trouble now, but anytime I needed paint, I say, Leroy, I need some paint for this. No problem. I'd come back into my classroom in the morning, there'd be a gallon or two, whatever I needed.
That's good.
And stuff, so I always took care of it. If it was for students, he made sure he took care of it, so we're gonna miss him. All right, there's no need for an executive session, Walt?
No, sir.
All right, I need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? That's why we're leaving so early. All right, at this
Hey, it's
time, we
early.
will adjourn at 9:24.
We had to vote.
Oh, roll call, Monica.
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned.
Go home and sleep, people.
Thank you.
Timmy, I didn't know that was one of your relatives.
Good night, everybody.
The board meets at 6:30 p.m. on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month, and we hope to see you at a future meeting.